Hey everybody, this is Neil with Portal to Ascension at the Portal to Ascension conference. We are having a great time here. It is October, I don't even know anymore.
October 7th,
2018, and this event is truly amazing. We've had people come from all over the world. I just connected with 5 people from Germany, 1 from London that came out for a trip over here, but this was a part of the experience, and it goes to show the dedication people have. And we have people coming from all over the states, even some places where they don't have this information, and they're coming to California because we have a lot of it here. And some may say it's oversaturated. We got so much consciousness going on over here, and at the same time we have the other side, right? So people are coming over here in order to experience it. And I've connected with my brother. And your name one more time?
Joey Webb, they call me Jiggy.
Joey Webb, Jiggy. And we have you told me a little bit about your story, that that where you started from and how you started kind of like in the streets. And
I grew up born and raised in the city of Boston.
Yeah.
I mean, I just the 80s and stuff, drug dealing and stuff, but that wasn't really prevalent for major parts of my life. But you learned a lot of things from the streets. I mean, that's just kind of how city life is.
Right.
I was fortunate though at a young age. My uncle was a big producer and brought all kinds of shows up to Boston. He actually got me into security at a young age.
Yeah.
And I ended up starting my own business and starting my own security company, which I've been doing for the past 25 plus years. Through doing that, it basically opened up a lot of doors. And, I've been different places in the world. I've been all over this country and stuff. Bodyguarded incredible amounts of people, major celebrities, businessmen, athletes, everything. But what it basically, what I do is called Paranormal. But I do a podcast I've been doing for 5.5 years every Thursday night. We're actually filming a TV show and stuff now based on our paranormal investigating and stuff. Our style is a little bit different. We do things our way, but really what got me started is my whole life was paranormal.
Yeah.
And I grew up, I lived in a haunted house. Everybody knew my house was haunted. Not haunted in the sense like it was anything spooky. It was just things that neighbors, friends, random people, because my grandmother used to use our house for boarders because our house is so big that she would rent the upper floors. So boarders would come in and sometimes stay short term. Musicians would be random people, sailors, different things would sometimes come in and stay short term. But they all would see, you'd hear, there was 4 floors in the basement, so we had 4 sets of stairs that went up, and you literally could hear people walking up and down the stairs, and no one was there, and you could just things that would happen in the house that you knew was something was outside. But growing up, it was something like my parents, my grandparents were always, just leave it alone, let sleeping dogs lie is one of the common phrases I always heard growing up. If it's not hurting you, don't hurt it, don't bother it. If you start to go down that road, you tend to open up a Pandora's box. So that's kind of what I was taught. But I had all these extraordinary experiences and just never thought twice about it.
Right.
And then in 2003, I got shot at work. My leg is all mangled and stuff. It's all pretty much reconstructed.
You got shot at work as a security guard?
Yeah, okay. Pretty much so. Yeah, I got shot at work, and I had a near-death experience. My body was ravaged with infections and stuff. Like I was in a really bad state. The doctors were telling me you're never gonna walk again. If you do, you're gonna have a drop foot. You're gonna have all these things. There's all this stuff was gonna happen. And I had this crazy experience, and I didn't really, again, I thought maybe, because at that point I was on like a lot of morphine and different stuff, so I attributed it to probably the drugs that they had me on, and I didn't give it any credence. 3 years later, just to kind of preface it, because it's kind of weird how it all happened, I had a huge event going on that weekend. I had like 60 guys working. I had a tremendous amount of staff and stuff working for me as well to cover this concert, and I had to bodyguard this group. I don't even name the group, it's some big group, but and I don't want to use it on camera anyways, but I started getting extreme headaches. I also was a motorcycle rider, and I thought that maybe the headaches were coming from the pipe, because I had this crazy loud pipe on my bike, and didn't think anything of it. So I'd go home for a couple of days, and I'll rest and just relax. And upon doing that, I didn't realize that 3 days had passed. I'd been in the house. No lights. I put something in my bell so you couldn't ring my bell. I wasn't answering my phone. Unplugged everything. There was no way to communicate with me. A friend of mine came to the house, and as soon as I opened the door, immediately it's like, whoa, you look like you're having a stroke. So at that point, this eye was closed, and it was asymmetrical looking at this eye. My face was droopy and stuff. I go to the hospital. I get there, and they do all these routine tests and stuff. And one of the doctors simply says to me, have you ever had a MRI or a CT scan? I said, no. One, because I was a lot bigger than I am now, which is all part of the story too. And it was an expensive write-up back in the day, so most insurance wouldn't cover it. So out-of-pocket expense. So never had one done, yet I suffered from migraines my whole life. So he thought that was odd. So they do the CT scan. I'm sitting in a waiting room, chilling, talking to my friend. Everything's cool. All of a sudden, these doctors are standing it's all dramatic. And I got all these doctors standing in front of me, and they're talking to me about an aneurysm. I don't know what an aneurysm is. I've never heard anything about this stuff in my life. So the funny part, what it's funny to me, is that they tell me all this stuff, and my immediate inclination, my immediate response is, I'm going home. And these doctors look at me, they're like, you can't go home. And I asked him, I said, well, if I, he said, if I stay here, can I die? If I go home, can I die? He said, both are a possibility.
Yeah.
I said, I'm going home. Because you can't guarantee me being here is not going to, I need to go home and rectify or deal with what I didn't know how to deal with. It was just something I had never heard anything about. I don't know if these doctors in my mind are lying to me or telling me something. Right. So I go home, do some research, call everybody I know who's in the medical field. They're like, boy, get back to the hospital. I go back to the hospital. I go back to the hospital. I'm there overnight. The next morning, the surgeon came in because he actually wasn't there. So he was somewhere in the world. He came back to Boston. He comes and he talks to me probably about 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. Tells me to do a routine clip and call. I've done thousands of these. This is a simple process, no big deal. No sooner does he leave, I want to say 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes pass, and I'm sleeping. I go back to sleep, and I just felt like somebody walked up and took a 12-gauge shotgun and put it to the side of my head and shot me. And I've been shot, so I know what it feels like to be shot. But that's the only thing I can liken this pain to. It's the most immense pain I've ever felt in my life. Getting shot felt nothing like this. It's just like being shot, like it's like a 12-gauge to your head, right? And I have no control. I can't do anything. I'm flailing. My body, I can't speak. I can't press the call button. Luckily, there's a gentleman in the bed next to me. Now, this is why I'm such a believer of synchronicity. He was an ex-Boston police officer from the neighborhood I grew up in. Happens to be in the bed next to me. He realizes I'm in distress. He calls the nurse. The nurse come in. They pull, there's like one monitor, because I would not let them give me heavy drugs. That was the thing, because after the first experience with being shot and morphine and stuff, I did not like the way the drugs made me feel. They had me on tons of drugs for infection, and didn't like any of it. So this is why it gives credence to what happens to me. So as the nurse is pulling me down the hall, I get maybe a moment of clarity where I'm able to speak, where I'm able to, put my thoughts together to say to this man what I feel like I need to say. Because for all accounts and purposes of everything they told me, I know I'm going to die. Like, there's no question in my mind that this is my final moments. And I say to him, my sister should be here soon, and when she gets it, I'm joking as I'm saying this to him, you gotta take care of her, because I'm all she's got. She's gonna freak out, and she might try to kill herself. And he's like, no, I'm not gonna let you die. And as soon as he says that, like, I'm gone. Like, my lights go out, everything's gone. And this is the problem I have, is there's a month-and-a-half period when I'm in the hospital. They literally kept me in a clean, dry, quiet room. Like, anything could give me infections, or all these different things that could happen. So in that process, I don't remember much of what happened, but I don't know time, and my family won't tell me time. I need to do research as far as my records and stuff, but my family is so far removed because it's such a traumatic experience for them that they won't talk to me about it. So I have no clue what happened during that month-and-a-half period. But whenever I woke up, which is probably a few days later, because I wouldn't call it a coma, but more like an induced state of just relaxation. They had my medications up to do that. Before I wake up, before my eyes actually open, I had the most profound experience I've ever had in my life, ever. And it's because people always ask me, they look to me, and they're like, what's the answer when you die? And whenever people have near-death experience or death experiences, most people want you to give them answers to life and death at the same time. I feel like my experience was tailored for me. Like, it was what I needed in the moment, because I didn't give up, but I was ready to go. As far as I'm concerned, my bags are packed. I'm ready to go. And this is the next part of my journey, that I'm with it. I understand it. I'm not going to fight it. I'm not going to cry. But that was the thing. Wherever, I can only describe it as like a void, like a place that it's like a waiting room almost. And lately, I've actually called. I think it might even be like right into the womb. Because if you think about, you don't remember your womb experience, but it's described, it's home. It's warm, it's comforting, everything is provided for you there. And that's kind of what this area felt like. Like, you're in a place where you're not happy, you're not sad, it's almost apathy. You're not really concerned about anything, but there's nothing there but you. And then at some point during this experience, I just feel like the most, can't even describe it. It was like a white light just surrounded me, and a comfort, like you just feel like you're just being held tight. And with that, I hear a voice I hadn't heard since I was a kid. And the voice simply says to me, this is the most important person ever in the world to me. And she died a long time ago. And she simply hear that voice say, you'll be okay, Joseph. You're fine. Just relax. And no sooner as she said that, I open my eyes, and I see my sister with my niece, and she had just had my niece. The funny thing is, both of my nieces, one was born when I got shot, and the other one was born when I had the brain aneurysm. And she's sitting there, and I'm looking, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm back, and trying to figure it all out. But it got weirder. So I had a craniotomy, I had a plate in my head, so you can't really see my scar because I had an incredible surgeon. But they literally went in my brain, did all this stuff and everything. A month later, I go home. A month later, I get out the hospital, I go back to the doctor's office. I walk into his office, and he just looks at me, and he doesn't say anything. He's just like, Superman. I was like, what do you mean? And he said, in all my years of doing, these surgeries, especially what you went through, what you had, and stuff like that, and all the variables, one, you should be dead, and all the variables behind that, like, you are a case that I can't explain. One, how did you just walk into my office when you were blind in one eye a month ago that was looking this way and all this stuff, and I should have to give you glasses, you should have been in a wheelchair, crutches, something. There's no way that you are a fully functioning person. And you look like, other than you can see that my head's all messed up at that time, that just no one would ever be able to tell there was something wrong with you. Okay, I asked him to explain it to me, and it wasn't even that. There were different instances while I was in this hospital, and there's credible people who can tell you about this stuff. Like, they went to put needles in me, my skin would break needles. And these doctors are sitting here like, how is he breaking needles? Like, and the doctor turned around and said to me, like, what are you? And I'm laughing. I'm like, you tell me, you're the doctor. They can't find veins. I mean, I had to have a PICC line inserted into my arm.
Wow.
So there's a scar. So basically, it's a line that goes directly to your heart.
Yeah.
And I had to have IVs at home for months. I was on ciprofloxacin because I would suffer from extreme cases of, I've always had problems with infections since I got shot. This is all the metal. I have a lot of metal in my leg and stuff too. So they have been all this stuff and everything. The doctor's like, I just don't understand how, one, the medications you take, that they haven't killed you, shut down your kidneys, your liver, but two, how you just getting better. And he told me to go play video games, all these different things to get my hand-eye coordination back. When literally, I mean, after months of it, again, if you didn't see the scar, you just know physical anything about me. Like, I don't walk funny, but, and this is where it gets weird. My sister, one of them is like the closest person who was to me, as I said earlier. She started talking to me, and one day she just said to me, like, you're not you. Like, what do you mean? She's like, well, you're you, but I feel like you're a variation of you. And I still don't. You talk too fast, you talk like a computer. It's like you have these weird quirks and tics that you never had. But like, I curl my lip up. I don't even know I do it. Never did things like that before. There are foods that I like that I didn't like before and stuff like that. And the doctor said, well, maybe that's attributed to the brain surgery. But my sister says, no. She's in. My other sister turned and said the same thing. They started to say, there's something about you that isn't you.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of my own in my brain. I'm talking to myself and thinking about things. And then they would say things to me and quote things. And I'm like, that didn't happen. They're like, yeah, it did. But my memory, even after brain surgery, is extremely well. What I remember, I remember. And I don't question it. And when I talk to people, they don't question it. So going back and forth with them, I just began to wonder, I don't know how this whole process works, but maybe I'm me, but of a variation of a dimension that's very close to this one. And however, if me here died, somehow, people like to call it a walk-in, which I don't like that word. It sounds like, kind of like,
I was
like the pilgrims, like I just took, you take something. I don't feel like I took anything, it wasn't a struggle, it just maybe that how death or some of, especially when it comes to the mind, my work is that you are able to, if that other body's not being used, but your time maybe here isn't done, then they just maybe slide you into, I don't really know how it works, but I get what they're saying. There's a possibility that this isn't home.
Do you have other memories that came with this too, or more like personality traits shifted?
Well, I have memories that don't line up with other people's memories. Some people they do. If I talk to some people, about myself, about places I've been, experiences I've had, and they're like, I don't remember that. I'm like, I remember it. Adamantly remember it. I know what I do, the smells, the touch, the sensations, especially being, with my line of work, I keep my head in the swivel at all times. So I pay attention to things, I watch things, I have a photographic memory. So anything, if I pay attention to something, it sticks in my mind. If I go someplace and I pay attention, I don't need GPS to get back there, I'll drive back there. There's places I went when I was a child that I can go drive back to right now. And I wasn't even driving. I'm with my parents in the car and I'm just paying attention. I can go to those places now. Right. So it is weird, but it's the possibility. Again, I don't know how that works.
Yeah, it's so interesting, bro, because I feel like I'm a walk-in too. Like, and I'm a reluctant person that I'm such a huge skeptic that it had to be like 100 people over 5 years telling me that for me to even like start conceptualizing this possibility, right? And that basically for those of you out there who don't really know what a walk-in is, and there are other terminology for it, that's just the label that has been given, but it's basically when a soul, would you say it's when a soul, energy, if you want to call it that, soul, energy, presence slips out and another one comes in, and it doesn't have to be like a separate entity, but it could be another aspect of yourself, like your star being self, like your lower self goes out, goes back to source, and your star being comes in. So did you do any further research into this phenomenon for you, and like what do you feel about it right now?
Well, I mean, what happened? I mean, the most profound thing about it, like I said, I felt like somebody hit a switch in my head. And the light, when I first would see the world was a very, and light, like bright. It was too bright. You know, I'd have to wear sunglasses. I couldn't always deal with the light. And first I thought, well, maybe it's just my eyes. And I asked the doctor, and they're like, well, there's no physical, there's nothing we can see that would make those problems happen. Yeah. And I realized, you know, years later through doing research, that was just my awakening. That was me seeing the world for what it was, getting to start aligning my energy with the energy of the world.
Yeah.
You know, the energy, everything has an energy signal. Everything has a pulse. Everything has something in it that gives it life. You know, no matter what you're looking at. Most of this stuff isn't even tangible, really exist anyway.
Yeah.
It exists in a different dimension. You know what I mean? How that stuff works. So I'm trying to process all that stuff, put it all together to understand. So when the light went on and I started seeing the world in a different thing, then that's when it really made me start to question my whole life.
What year was this?
This is 2006. I didn't smoke, and this is the thing about it. I didn't smoke marijuana at the time. I was adamant about not smoking because of my work. I didn't do any kind of drugs. I would drink a little bit, but I really wasn't into anything. You occasionally get me to smoke weed, but it really was not my thing. So they have all this medication, it's taking me down, and someone just simply said, "Stop, trying marijuana again." And I tried that, and that was when it started to make me, just relax, calm me down. It seemed like it started to put my brain together and put me on a path to start investigating. One, how I look at it as who I am. Where do I come from? And I felt like it may have something to do with my ancestors. It may have something to do with my bloodline. It may have a lot to do with who and what my family before me was, because I think the strength of your ancestors play a huge part in our existence here on this realm. You know, that they're always with you. People talk about ghosts, which I believe in, but I think that the stronger presence that most people feel is actually their ancestors, who are they're not going to leave you. They've always been there. They want the best for you.
Yeah.
You know, they want to see how you're progressing in life. And that's, I believe that my ancestors are always with me. But just researching is hard because you really can't talk to most medical professionals. When I would talk to them about this, they're telling you, like, well, they have all these explanations. But my question to them was always, well, have you ever died? Have you ever been in the exact same situation I've been in?
Right.
If you've been in that situation, then you and I can have a conversation. Other than me, you're just quoting stuff that you've read in a book.
Yeah.
You're quoting stuff you've read in the journal. You're quoting
Without
stuff that's been taught to you, right? But then you have people like Dr. Eben Alexander, who have had near-death experiences, who is a very well-known, renowned man in his field, and people respect him. So you're telling him he's crazy? No one would look Eben Alexander in his face and tell him he's crazy. So the idea that they tell you that without doing any real research themselves, then you have to start to look for other channels, other places. And it was hard because this is 2006. I didn't know anything about, the community, the conscious community, the paranormal community, anything. I went back to work. This is probably 6 months later. I get into a car. I have a group. I'm bodyguarding from Jamaica, and we're starting a tour. About to go on an East Coast tour. As I drop them at the hotel, because they're still in my state, so I'm going to go home and go to sleep. I'm going to stay in the hotel, get all my stuff ready. I go into this store. Now I see all these people standing there, and I'm thinking like somebody's robbing the place. So I immediately go for my sidearm. I'm like, somebody like robbing this joint, because I've been in situations where I've seen stores get robbed and stuff before. And I guess not. I'm walking around, getting my stuff to go to the front, and I said, "Excuse me, shh. What's going on? Something wrong? Is there a war or something?" It's Coast to Coast AM. So Coast to Coast AM is playing in the background, and I hear this, and I hear, what's his name, John B. Wells at the time, and this man is talking about ghosts and all this stuff, and I'm like, whoa, okay. So I get in my car, and it's on my local radio station. I turn it on. I got an hour and a half drive home, and I listen to this thing, and I'm like, wow, so maybe I'm not crazy. And that's really what kind of helped begin the whole process of researching stuff. Yeah. Because I realized there's a community of people out there like me, similar experiences, other experiences, who believe in all this stuff that I've believed in my whole life, but have been suppressing, and now it's time for me to try to figure it out. And the best way to do that is to connect with that community. And once you see that, it's like hearing that, and it's like, you go down, what's the rabbit hole, you know what I'm saying? Once you go down that, once you jump down that hole,
you can climb back out.
Right, but then it's like you don't want to climb back out.
Yeah, I know, right?
But it's like you're going through a black hole or wormhole that's got, Einstein Rosenberg, it's got 1,000 different variations of where it can go off.
Infinite possibilities.
Exactly, and it opens up the door. And then I guess I started smoking marijuana and stuff again, and I just getting into the community and talking to people, trying to become more spiritual and trying to get a better understanding of things. I just felt like who I was before that was not who I am. Yeah. That was the programming, that was the human or the linear way of doing things I was programmed to do, but that's literally not who I am. Yeah. And I knew that at that point. And then the process was like, well, how do I change this and research this and go about this and make it so that when I explain it to other people, they get what I'm saying. I don't sound crazy like when I'm trying to talk to that doctor who's looking at me like, you know, I'm batshit crazy. You better understand it. And then I just kept going, just doing research, just listening to more and more, you know, just as much as I could, and start to put things together. Then you hear words like walk-ins, you understand what near-death experiences, you understand what the death experiences, you understand about your energy and all this stuff, because people would start saying things to me, like, just random places, and some people, I've had a couple people walk up to me like, I've never seen energy like yours before. What do you mean? They're like, well, it's like your color, your aura, your energy is like something I've never seen. I don't understand it. And that's why I always thought about the walk-in thing too, because strangers were saying that to me. And they're like, it's almost like your energy isn't from here. Like you're not, that's like alien, but more like it's something that's common or known, but still not from here. That's why I really started going and just when I researched all the different things that people were saying to me, like, I don't know how you prove it. I don't know if there's any way to prove it, but I definitely feel like this is a dimension that's very close to mine, and somehow I ended up here.
It's interesting that we all have these catalysts and things that spark us to go down the rabbit hole, you know, whether it's something like really mainstream or something based on nutrition, and then all of a sudden we're at ETs, ancient civilizations, and the fact that we're going through this ascension process, right? So what were some of the first books, first videos, first individuals, information, first type of information that
John Lear. John Lear.
Okay.
Is
that the NASA guy?
Well, no, he was the pilot. He was the pilot. Okay, You're talking about Dr. Roger Lear. No, John Lear, his father owned Learjet, and he was a pilot for like the CIA and everything. He's got an incredible history, but you know, he goes off on everything. He just tells you all these infinite possibilities. I started doing the research into him, Bob Lazar, different people. You know, like I said, Evan Alexander was huge in the research I was doing because he was someone who was explaining exactly what happened to me that's happened to him. And just it's not I'm not a huge book reader, so I can't read everybody's books. So I try to find people who kind of speak in something that, you know, exactly resonate with what I'm feeling. It's not even the research. What happened is, too, when I started my podcast a couple of years, I have a co-host now. And my co-host is into psychedelics. You know, this kid is like, he's a professional, like his whole life. This dude has done insane amounts of psychedelics, you know, LSD, shrooms, everything. I grew up in the hood. Now, in the hood, you could get coke, you could get heroin, you know, you could get marijuana and stuff, but no one had ever said anything to me about psychedelics. And if I did hear about it with somebody like Nancy Reagan or something who would tell you say no to drugs.
Exactly.
You know, and I'd watch a movie and then, you know, oh, I'm on mushrooms and everything is goofy and stupid, and I'm like, that's not me. I don't want to be goofy and stupid. When I smoke marijuana, I'm not goofy and stupid. But he one-upped me. So my first experience was DMT. And I took the DMT, and when I took that DMT afterwards, it is a near-death experience. It is literally the experience that I had, but on DMT. But it takes you beyond that. It took me beyond. The first experience was because, I don't know if you've ever seen anybody doing DMT.
Yes.
If you actually, and you know, they're shallow breathing, they almost look like they're dead. They look like you're gone. You're not in this. Your energy, your soul, whatever, is gone. This shell is on life support at that point. It is literally grasping at the last straws because it's nothing here to sustain it. So it's just waiting for you to come back. Hopefully you come back, because if you spend too much time out there, you're probably not coming back to this at all. But I was like, wow, I'm in this incredible place, and they kind of tease me. Now when I say they, I call them the dudes, because I did it right back the second time. As soon as I came out, took a few minutes and went back into DMT a second time, and that's when I had the breakthrough. And that's when the infinite possibilities of everything opened up. That was when my mind took such an incredible leap that I can't explain it. Not like I'm not all of a sudden I'm like Einstein or anything, but I'm talking about a leap of understanding, of self, of the universe, of everything. And that changed me even more. I stopped eating meat. I haven't had meat in over a year. I'm 100 pounds lighter than I was last year. And you know, you start to get that stuff out of my system and cleanse myself, and all that death and everything and destruction and sadness and everything. I start to feel my energy rise, and I start to feel that changing with me. And once I felt that change, I just, wow, how can I just walk through this the way I have been most of my life, ignoring things, taking advantage of the negative, because negative is the TV, it's the music, it was the clubs I went to, it was the liquor I drank, all that type of stuff. You know, the spirits, you know, wine and spirits. You know, people don't realize literally when you're drinking alcohol, you're taking your inhibitions down, you're lowering that wall we were talking about earlier, and allowing things to come inside of you. And that might be another part of you somewhere, another walk-in, that's you someplace else that's not the good you. Because you ever drink alcohol in your life? You ever get really drunk? and be like, wow, I wasn't myself last night.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You weren't.
Yeah, yeah.
You weren't.
Yeah.
You weren't on autopilot. You're like, oh, it's on autopilot. You know, when you drive a car, you're on autopilot because your brain remembers. That's not it. That's something else. That and even if there's the bad version of you, like, oh shit, tonight he's open. Sorry for swearing, but he's open. You know, let me jump in there and let me go take over, and I'm gonna have fun with him right now. Well, he's down. He can't realize what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then you wait. I've woken up the next day with 2 black eyes, a bloody nose, and everything. I don't know what happened the night before.
Right.
Things like that. So that told me, you know, move away from that and stuff. The psychedelics.
Right.
I just.
So what are we escaping when we do those things, right? Like, because we're putting these things in our body to numb ourselves or forget certain things.
Exactly.
Or it gets to there after two drinks, right? So what we need is things that allow us to be vulnerable. Are you saying that the psychedelic experiences did that for you?
It made me vulnerable. It made me, as smoking is my co-host, as he taught me, it's like learn how to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah, love that one, dude.
That is the best line ever. It's just that's what I had to do. You know, everything in my life was like, okay, I control everything.
Right. Yeah.
But now when I'm doing psychedelics, I'm not in control at all.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be.
That's the thing.
I just let go. Don't try to control the situation. Don't bring any negative anything into it that doesn't need to be there. And you know, I've purged during them, and I realized, you know, people are like, oh, I had a bad trip. I've never had a bad trip. I had a learning experience. That's my ego. That's the mushrooms telling my ego. That's the psychedelics telling me your ego needs to go.
Yeah.
It's either you or it, and it's got to go because both of you can't survive. Because that ego staying in place would be me still eating meat, me still living a certain way, me still doing things I wasn't doing before.
Yeah.
So the teacher, you know, Golden Teacher was literally the first mushrooms I ever did, taught me a lot. And I've had a lot of journeys since then, even to the point where I've actually, and you know, I'm 48, so my parents are in their 70s. I've had these conversations with my parents now. My parents want to try psychedelics because it was such a profound experience to me, and they know who I am and how I speak. Yeah. And I don't speak, but I wouldn't likely say something to them. So when I speak to them about it, they're like, "Wow, that's really profound. Like, we want to try it now." You know? Yeah. The change of energy is so important. I don't think I ever in my life understood energy until I started doing this, and even more so now after psychedelics. Because once you see that connection of everything is energy, everything is connected. This is connected. You know, you might look at a pillow and think it's just a pillow, but that pillow is connected. It's got energy. It's got lines that go through it. You can see that. I see the grass, you know, growing. Yeah. The grass moving and circling itself, breathing and stuff like that. So it's like you realize how energy is so important. Your energy is connected. I'm you. You're me. Gee, we're all the same. This little shell, this suit that they put on, the suit to me is the test. Yeah. The suit is what they put on you as the test. It's like a uniform. You know how people are against cops, they're against the military, whatever they're against. You know, some people might not like a firefighter or a paramedic because they wear a uniform. Yeah. This is our uniform. And the uniform is supposed to give you this individuality, which makes no sense. There is no individuality. Yeah. We live in a society where people are telling us me. I'm taking a selfie, you know what I'm saying? Like, what am I eating? What am I doing? I'm at the gym. I'm at the store. I'm at this. It's all about me. When they realize that we'll never ever get past this until we get past the me attitude. Yeah. Until we realize we as a oneness cannot ever get past this until we do it together. Right. I imagine if all these billions of people on the planet, just for say an hour, shut all this distractions down, all this power, everything, and just sat and just thought about love. Nothing else. With you, man. Peace or love, one of those two words. Yeah. Our energy would resonate throughout the universe. Right. That's when they would come. Right. See, when the people talk about aliens and stuff, I believe in them. Yeah. But I believe they really don't want much to do to us, except for the ones who probably are in control. There are probably some distractions and stuff. But when the ones who are really out there, the powerful ones, because love and goodness is always much more powerful than anything bad. Straight up. Anything bad. That's what they're waiting for. This is school. This is nothing but a school. And we're not even in first grade. We're at a head start. We haven't got the kindergarten yet. We are in head start. And we don't even know it. Yeah. You know, and once we figure that out, just like school, just like the corporate structure and programs that are around us, you realize that all this stuff is irrelevant. Right.
It's the arrogance of feeling that we're the best that we've ever been.
Oh, that's right. We're at the top of the food chain.
They must have been primitive before because they didn't have technology that we had. And ultimately, the truth is that there've been more advanced civilizations. We're not not as conscious as we think we are. We're acting unconsciously on this planet and destroying ourselves. Hardcore destroying ourselves.
Destroying our home.
Yeah, destroying others, destroying our home, destroying Earth, dude. Yes. Right?
Like it's like burning your house down. It's like if you went home and literally said, you know what, I'm just gonna burn my house down.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're doing. Exactly. That's what we are doing to our planet.
It's so funny that we don't even think, right? And like we don't think that there are going to be other generations here, and that our impact now is going to affect everything throughout time because we're so collectively ego-driven and selfish that we're trying to get instant gratification almost to appease the pain of just being on this planet in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Like our mommy and daddy issues, our traumas, our molestation issues. We're always trying to fix the trauma that we've got so we can never focus on what we need to focus on. And I think part of that is having our basic needs met. You know, like because we don't have a basic needs met, we can't focus on spirituality. We can't have that 1 hour of everybody chilling every day, meditating. Right? But if we all had certain things met, like we could focus on things that we love, because we know we're going to have food, we know we're going to have shelter, we know we're going to have water, right? And we know we can have love, right? Then we can all sit down and take some time to reflect. And I think that something will be happening soon, whether it's a financial collapse, economical collapse, some sort of thing will happen that will allow for more people to have more of that time on their hands.
Oh, I hope so. I think the only problem with that is that the woke people, the conscious community, people who think outside the box, would be the people who would do well during that time. But I don't see how the masses are going to do.
Right.
I don't. And that's what scares me, is because we could be off somewhere in our own little community having love and peace, but it's those people who are out there, their mentality is always, I'm going to have to go destroy what's going on. I don't like it, I'm not part of it, I got to go do something about it. Either take it, and if I can't take it, I'm going to destroy it. That's why I just think that we need that oneness, that we have to all, and not some of us. Some of us are light workers, and some of us will do work, and that's smart. You know, but it's all of us that it takes. And even some of the light workers, like I hear people who constantly, retrograde, or this, or my moon isn't, my sun isn't, and my day is. I'm like, but you're a light worker. Work light. Exactly. Even light workers are still feeling as victims. I'm like, retrograde. Retrograde to me is a time for, I'm going to go and expand my consciousness. I'm going to expand my creativity. I'm going to try something I've never tried before. There
is never something that is specifically negatively polarized. Everything has a counterpart. We concentrate so much on astrology because of this duality of the negative components of it all. But Mercury retrograde allows you to see your shadow self, and that should be something that you should be excited about, because otherwise you will have worse time living on this world, right?
Exactly. Make it all positive. It's up to you. No one can make it positive for you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, the darkness, all that type of stuff. The darkness exists. There is the balance, you know, the yin and the yang. But at the same time, the darkness is going to be there. You know it's going to be there. You turn a light, the darkness goes away.
Yeah, exactly.
So what's the problem? Like, just turn your light up. And people are so scared to, again, get comfortable being uncomfortable, because we live in a world where we're conformists. We're indoctrinated into a system that teaches us all this stuff, and throughout our lives, this is what you have to do. And the minute you step outside that box, everybody starts to question, it's like, dude, like, there is no box. People always, you know, I'm a comic book reader. I've been reading comic books most of my life. Love comic books, all the Avengers movie, all that type of stuff. Love superheroes. You know what I realized? I am a superhero. You're a superhero. She's a superhero. He's a superhero. We're all superheroes. We're looking for something else to come out the sky and fly down and sit over us, and I'm Superman. You know,
but it's us. Those stories are of us. It's the hero's journey. We are the heroes.
We are the heroes.
We're looking at it externally, but it's just talking about what we're able to do.
We're creating all this stuff, gods and all this type of stuff. Listen, we are gods. Even if you want to take the words from all of your holy books like that, Jesus even said you're gods. Jesus told you we're gods. If you're a product of God, if God created you, you're God's children and you're gods. Doesn't mean that you're capable of doing yet maybe what he does. Maybe that's part of the whole smooth process. So you get to a point, who knows, all these stars in the universe could be created by each one of us. It could be our thought that creates a new star that they find, like, oh my God, where this NASA does it all the time. We found a new star and then everybody saw a new planet or whatever. How do we know we didn't create that? Because we've advanced, we've become those gods. And now, like Mother Earth, Mother Earth could have been a soul, could have been a person, just like us at some point that was flesh and blood.
There's scriptures that talk about how that happens too.
And Mother Earth is the same thing. We are the same thing. Like, she's a living organism. She breathes, she does everything. She expels what she doesn't like. She's got everything that we have inside of her. It's the same thing.
There's ancient Sumerian scriptures that say that every human becomes a galaxy, like we become planets, stars, and it's our essence and presence, because the Earth is sentient, right? Everything is conscious. We just live in this reality where we feel that it's not, right? Because everything is separate to us. But ultimately, all things are conscious, and then we raise our own vibration, we start seeing the life and everything, like you just saw the life in the pillow. How many people on this planet will be like, hey, this is alive, right? But I'll be like, this rock is alive too, right? We're all part of this big fabric of creation in the universe.
Yes, absolutely. And once you figure that out, you just stop fighting it.
Exactly.
It's the good fight is fighting every day to just be love, to just be peace, to raise your vibration. I live in a hood. You know, I live in a city where I have a couple of cool neighbors, and people walk by me all the time, they don't smile. You know, they don't say hello to you, don't say good morning. I do. And someone says, why do you do that? I said, because you know what? I just planted a seed in that person's head. They might walk by and I smile at them and they look like, why does dude just smile at me? You know, like, curl their face. Why do you just smile at me? But at the same time, you're thinking about what I just did. And sometimes it makes people smile. Like, you know, you walk down the street, you're smiling, they look at you like you're crazy, but then they're laughing like, oh, this dude's crazy. But you're smiling, but you're laughing. So I won. I did what I was supposed to do. I was supposed to spread, my energy is supposed to spread to you. If you're having a bad day and something's wrong with you, I'm not supposed to counter it with, oh, you know, oh, I want to fight you, or just, oh, leave me alone. I think, no, it doesn't even have to be. I could just walk by you and smile, and my energy could just be the thing that might uplift your day.
Yes.
You know, one of the most, another profound experience I had when I was in contact in the desert is just hugging somebody. I'm not a hugger. Again, I'm a bodyguard, security, stuff like that. I'm very standoffish, very introverted at times. You know, I fall back from situations, and hugging is never my thing. And I went to contact the desert, I'm walking in, I'm talking to this guy, the first thing he did was give a hug. At the end of the night, I kept wondering all day, like, why do people keep coming to me for hugs? People keep walking up and hugging me for no reason. So apparently this guy was walking around, and at the end, I'm leaving at the end of the night, him and his friends walking. His friends walk up to me first, like, oh, you're the guy. I'm like, wait, you the paranormal guy? He's like, nah, our boy has been walking around all day talking about you. You gave him a hug, and he felt like he absorbed all this positive energy from you, and it charged him up, and it made it throughout his day, because he wanted to go upstairs, go to his room, and go to bed, because he was tired. But he said as soon as he hugged you, he didn't understand it, but it just made it through his day. Wow. So then the guy comes over, he's talking, he's like, yeah, man, like, you know, I'm sorry, but I took this energy. I said, you didn't take anything from me. We exchanged energy.
Interesting. Because
what you don't realize is I just came from Boston. Got here at midnight. I'm tired. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Now at this point in the morning, at time we're at the event, it's probably, you know, still advanced time. My whole chemistry is off, my clock is off, but you gave me the same thing that I gave you. We exchanged energy because both of us realized we needed it. My energy is foreign from here, your energy is foreign from here, but our energy setting us come together and make it so we both have a positive experience. Right, exactly. So I understand even the power of a hug, the power of simple suggestions, the power of just letting people know that you're there. It doesn't, you know, people take things to the extreme too. Some people feel like, and that's the ego again, that you have to be up under them. If you're not up under them, you know what I'm saying? You're not, and then that's not true. My parents live in a different state. Right. Doesn't mean I can't connect to them. Doesn't mean they don't know I love them. Doesn't mean that I can't send my energy and my presence to them. I've practiced that, figuring out how somebody else, someplace else can feel my energy, and it works. You know, but again, we are superheroes. Just practice. You know, Superman, I'm pretty much sure he had to practice when he was doing the Flash. Didn't just all of a sudden start running real fast and have it down pat. You know, you just got to practice, and you want to be a superhero. Be a superhero. Exactly right. You know, you don't have to go around smashing tanks and beating up anything. Just be a superhero to your community, to your family, to people you don't even know. Just be that kind of superhero. You don't even. There's no kudos. There's no anything that you need. You don't need someone to validate it. The validation comes with itself because your energy keeps rising. That's the validation. The point where I'm at, I'm validated, and everything that I've done, it validates it for me because of how I feel, because of who I am. Because a couple of years ago, I wouldn't be sitting here being able to have these kind of, I could talk to you about ghosts and everything all day, but there wouldn't have been a whole lot of conscience and spirituality in with it. And I realized through that path, everything is paranormal. That's why I call it paranormal, but it's not just supposed to, it's all paranormal because it's not normal. The only thing that is normal here is our energy, is our souls. Everything else here is not normal. This is created. This is The Sims.
This is paranormal.
Exactly. Everything is
what's normal is what they call paranormal.
Exactly. Like it's weird, but that's how we're taught. Everything that they tell us is a lie, pretty much, and it's a created lie to keep us suppressed from who we truly are. The answers are out there. You know, we all want to know the answers, but if you don't do any kind of work, you'll never have the answer. And I don't want anybody else to ever give me an answer. I have the answers for myself. Right, wrong, or indifferent, I know the answers for me are. And as long as it's a positive outcome, then I'm always going to stick with that. Right.
And everybody's truth is their own truth, no matter what, right?
Absolutely.
All right, brother. Thank you so much, man, for being here with me, dude. I truly appreciate you. Thank you for flying out all the way over here to be a part of this experience, dude. My heart goes out to you. I love you so much, and I'm just honored and blessed to be here.
I just want to tell you, thank you, and just keep doing what you're doing. Especially like I told you, where I'm at, the East Coast, different places need this. They need it. It's not anything like this over there. So once people start to get out of their shells and get comfortable with being uncomfortable, you'll have a better world.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, dude, we're just hovering right now.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm just waiting, dude. You know what I mean? Building, and soon.
Yes, sir.
Worldwide.
Absolutely, my brother. Peace and love. Thank you.
All right, everybody. This is Neil with Portal to Ascension. We are out for now. We'll be back soon. Check out our other YouTube videos. Click the notification bell. Click subscribe. Join us. We'll see you later. Peace and love.
Peace and love.
Yeah.